Douglas Murray and Sam Harris are going to break it down for us right now. I'm Tyler Traveling Clat, your favorite Zionist prince, white colonizer. Let's take a look at this clip.
Just preempting any of the morons who want to claim that I'm saying that a Jewish life is worth 10 in American lives or anything like that. No.
Right.
It's extrapolating out from population. So, if October the 7th had happened in America by proportion of population, it would have been 44,000 Americans murdered and burned alive in their homes in one day, and another 10,000 Americans taken hostage. So, my challenge is, whether in Gaza with 1,200 civilians in Israel murdered and 250 taken hostage, and the two stated war aims of the Israeli government, the return of all the hostages and the destruction or capture of all of Hamas's leadership and fighting brigades. Whether it's in the case of Israel trying to carry out this operation of rescue and so on in Gaza, or whether it would be how America would get back 10,000 hostages in an equally built-up, intensely booby-trapped terrain. If anyone watching has a battle plan for how to do that, send it to me.
Please.
And I will send it to everybody I know in Israel, because I'm sure that if there is a military genius watching and listening who knows how you would carry out that operation with no civilian casualties on the side of the Gazans and minimal to no casualties on the side of the IDF, I can assure anyone watching, I and many others would be all ears. But I hear no such thing. I hear no such thing. The best I've had, I think it came up in that Rogan debate, the best I've heard is the hostages that have been released by getting around a table and negotiating. Horse shit, said by people who don't know what they're talking about. The only reason Hamas has released any of the hostages to date, including the dead bodies of babies, is because of the kinetic military force exercised for 18 months by the young men and women of the IDF. Only military pressure has made Hamas give any of the hostages back. They would all still be sitting in underground tunnels and in the basements of Al Jazeera, journalists and much more, if there had been no military action in Gaza. Sinwar would still be alive if the IDF had not painstakingly fought in Gaza for a year.
Yeah.
People simply do not understand this. And when they say things like, but why don't the Israelis just get around the table with Hamas? I'm afraid you completely demonstrate you know nothing about Hamas.
Yeah. What do you think Israel's policy should be going forward around hostages? I know this is difficult for you to answer, perhaps, given the fact that you know many of these families, but I think I can only imagine that there are very few people in Israel now who think that the Gilad Shalit deal was wise in retrospect. That was you might summarize what that was, but that was I think the 1,027 terrorists to one hostage exchange that freed Sinwar to mastermind October 7th.
Yep.
That piece of history looks increasingly untenable, and given the understandable pressure brought to bear by the hostage families throughout this war, given the fact that the leverage is undeniable. Once you have hostages, you have leverage. How does this get broken in the future?
Let me preempt that by saying that there are similar cases around. When I was reporting from Ukraine recently, I was, among other things, interviewing families and children who had been behind the enemy lines, had been in territory captured by Putin's forces. And it's thought that around 20,000 Ukrainian children have effectively been kidnapped by Putin and the Russians. This includes people in orphanages, but it also includes children that were encouraged to go to summer camps and their parents sent to summer camps and then were disappeared. I found out something very interesting the other week when I was looking into this story and trying to bring some more light to it, which is that there seems to me to have been an almost deliberate attempt of the Ukrainian side not to maximize this story.
Right.
Because, and this is something of a supposition speaking to some of the people campaigning for the kidnapped children, that the Zelensky government knew that the minute that it is about getting the children back, you will get intolerable pressure from your domestic population because anything is worth it to get the children home.
Yeah.
It's just a terrible, terrible thing. And I suspect that some of their thinking on that has been influenced by watching the Israelis being pushed into this intolerable position. It's incredibly hard in Israel because not only is there the religious edict to fight for life, and that this is one of the commandments central to the faith, but it is also a commandment that then is central to the state. Everybody, when they join the army, the air force, or anything, everyone flying a dangerous raid over enemy territory is told, if something happens, we will come and get you back. We'll come and get you back. We tear up the earth to get our people back. Everybody in the IDF knows, no man left behind. No man left behind in the battlefield. And so Hamas, like Hezbollah, know that that is the Israeli view, that they put an exceptionally high price on life. And by the way, that isn't just the life of Jews, to preempt one inevitable line of attack. It is literally to get back every Israeli. And the Israelis who have been captured, by the way, included Bedouin, Arabs,
many Muslims,
Druze,
and others. But it's agonizing. It is completely agonizing, as Hamas knew it would be. Some families of the hostages refused to engage in the Hostage Families Forum and its work because they said, "We know," and our child knew, and sometimes the child had left a message saying, "Please don't swap me. It's not worth it. Other families will suffer," and they really do. I mean, there was in one of the swaps, I myself, having spent all this time there and getting to know so many people involved, victims and families and more. I myself had one the other month where one of the hostages released was someone whose family I know well, and one of the terrorists released in swap from the Israeli side was a man who killed the brother of a friend of mine in Israel some years ago. So one family is celebrating in a way which is like a miracle.
Yeah, you cannot begrudge that celebration.
And on the other hand, there's a family who knows that their loved one's killer is free after only a few years in prison. So this is all just horrible, and it's deliberately horrible because Hamas makes it so. The torture porn they push out on videos, videoing hostages, watching the release of other hostages in order to double up the pressure.
It's just so disgusting, the fight that's being fought against Hamas. Like this psychological warfare that they've been able to, I don't want to say instill, but that they've been able to force upon the Israeli populace. It's just, and it stretches beyond just the Israeli populace. It stretches into the territory of all Jews. I've talked about this ad nauseum as well. Jewish people are going through a traumatic experience since October 7th. I don't think many Jews have even processed up until now. Like, it is so damning, this trauma of what has been. And it's not to say, I don't want to discount the trauma that the Arab world is also going through, seeing what's going on in Gaza, because it is also trauma. But the way that the Jewish community reacted to it, it's so clearly a traumatic, a very deeply traumatic event, to like existentially traumatic. Like, people really feel under threat. Like, they feel like it's here. They feel like it's right up to here. And that's not a good place to put the Jewish population, because they start acting neurotic. We have been. They start acting unhinged, and we have been. They start acting non-calculated in their decisions in life. And it's scary, It's like not a good position to put an entire population of people. I fear, genuinely, after the last year of what we've seen, I fear for where our people will go. Like, I fear for what will happen to the Jewish people. I know we'll be resilient and I know we'll be strong, but I fear for what this means for the Jewish people moving forward in life, and how they will see and interact with the world around them. I genuinely fear for it, because people who have their backs against the wall at all times don't end up being the most productive members of society. And if the world is pushing us into a corner to feel like, if the world is pushing us into a corner and saying you belong there, not a good place to be, in my opinion. Not a good place to be at all. Not a good place to be. I'll see you guys in the next one. I love you long, long time. Thanks for watching. Goodbye, Klats.
If you believe in my content and want to support me, just know your help is needed. There's a bunch of great ways to support me, being PayPal, Buy Me a Coffee, or joining my Patreon community down below. Patreon is the best way to support my channel, and you'll get a bunch of cool perks depending on what tier you join. Another great way to support me is by buying my merchandise on thetravelingclat.com. I regularly drop new merch designs like this beautiful hat, or this amazing shirt, where you can support the channel and get something cool for yourself. I also have an amazing Discord community with people from all over the world. Thank you so much for your support.